Hey guys, it's Graham. What's cracking? I finished a book at work. Finished it all in one go, in one day. Bumped up the speed, knocked it out about halfway through my long Monday route, so let's get right into it. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, excuse me. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm not a fan of this title. I think it's derivative to the detriment of the book behind it. I had seen this on the shelf years ago when it came out. It was more recent than I thought. I could have sworn this was a 2014, 2015 book. It came out in 2020. The reason I looked up the date is about a third of the way through, I realized that this story it probably has drawn unfavorable comparisons with Knives Out, which is a movie that I've got mixed feelings about it. We'll talk about that at another time. But it kind of starts the same way, um, but it's not. It doesn't get there to the same place for the same reason. The main character is a girl named Avery. She's piss poor broke and a teenager, and her legal guardian is her older half sister who works in a nursing home. And her dad is kind of dead beaten out of the picture. Her mom is literally dead and gone, and she's just trying to muscle her way through a poor existence. Driving, she at least has a crappy car and a broken cell phone. Like the screen's cracked. Like she's broke. She's miserable. And then one day, this powerful family shows up at her school and basically like subpoenas her. This is like, hey, we've been trying to reach you for a couple of weeks because you're named in our late father's will, and we're trying to figure out why he requires you to be at the will reading. She's like, okay, what the heck? Who is this guy? I have no idea. She goes home and Googles the guy, and he's like a super Texas billionaire. He's worth tens and tens of billions of dollars. And so she's like, okay, well, I have no idea what's going on. And then this is where it's kind of like Knives Out. Like the family is all told to go expletive themselves, and here's $5, and I'm leaving everything to this girl. And they're all like, who the heck is this? We have no idea who you are. Like, were you taking advantage of our dad? He had dementia in the end. She's like, I literally have no idea what's going on. It turns out that she's got a connection to the family, but part of the story is about her unraveling that and figuring out what it is, and then also suddenly navigating the world of paparazzi. And she gets enrolled in a prep school, and the terms of the will are that she has to live in the rich guy's name was Tobias Hawthorne. She's got to live in his house for a year, and his house is freaking huge. So there are a lot of personal complications going on. I feel like the title was derivative, obviously, of the Hunger Games. That's the biggest, the weird word, games title of the last 2 decades. And I thought, okay, are they going to try to riff on that? Is this going to be some weird dystopic world? Or is there going to be some other element of bullcrap going on? Like, no, this is still a very contemporary novel. There isn't anything sci-fi or speculative attached to it. It's just, here's a bonkers situation. Here's a varied and colorful cast of characters, and here's a mystery at the center of it all, and we get to see it through the first-person perspective of our female lead. Her older sister is in an abusive relationship, an on-again, off-again relationship, like actually physically abusive. This guy hits her and stuff. And now that Avery suddenly has all this wealth and connections, she's probably able to do something about it. She's trying to figure out what that should be. There are also, Tobias Hawthorne had 4 grandsons through his daughter Sky, and this lady Sky Hawthorne, she is a mega hoe. Like for 4 years, she would leave for a couple of months, come back knocked up from a different guy, give birth to a kid, leave again. So it was a bit of a plot contrivance, not contrivance, but plot mechanism, excuse me, for there to be 4 boys in this house and in this family that were all very close in age and handsome, rich, intelligent, skilled, and stuff. Obviously, there's a bit of the female imprint myself onto the male characterness of it all, so that a girl could read this and be like, "Ooh, if it were me, I'd pick this guy instead of that guy," whatever. Like, I get that I'm not in the target audience for this book. That did kind of affect, I think, my enjoyment of it, my reading of it. My wife, like I said, she read it for a book club. Somebody recommended it. I was like, "Oh, I've heard of that." She got really into it. She thought, she's read the trilogy, and I think there were some tie-in novels, and she's enjoyed it. She's always had a love for mystery. She's really loved Agatha Christie and stuff, and so that's always been her jam. While this one doesn't have a gentleman sleuth at the core of it, it does very heavily rely on some of those, maybe not so much tropes, but definitely elements of mystery. There were a couple of things I was able to predict, a couple of things that I wasn't. A lot of that just had to do with how bloated the cast was. My verdict on this book is I want to give it 3.5 stars, and I can't decide whether to round up or round down. So I'm just going to stick at 3.5. I think that's fine. It was enjoyable, and to its credit, like, I got all the way through it. I finished it. I didn't want to be like, okay, I'll just look up a summary somewhere and not worry about it. No, like, I wanted to read it and get to the end, and there were a couple of twists and callbacks and stuff, and all of that stuff can work for those who are invested enough to read the sequels. I don't think I am. I don't think this is the kind of book that I'm ever likely to reread. I thought it was fine and good and well done for what it was. It just didn't have so much pull that I was like, okay, I really need to go check out the sequel and find out what happens next. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine not knowing. I think it's okay. Content-wise, it was clean. There was Avery had a best friend named Max. These two chicks with dude names, whatever. Max has a very strict family, and she's not allowed to swear, so instead she does a lot of like substitute swear words. It's more played for comedic effect, but there's also the fact that she's kind of the only one in the book who even sort of remotely swears, so that puts an awkward spotlight on it. But again, it's contemporary YA for the teen girl audience. I'm not surprised that it doesn't. I'm not saying that it should. It just, when you have a character that very notably avoids saying actual swear words and always substitutes in these softer words, it highlights the fact that nobody else is saying any bad words at all. 'Tis what it is. I thought that Jennifer Lynn Barnes was an author from the Utah community, and I was like, wait a minute, do I know this lady? So I looked her up. No, like, she's from here in Oklahoma. She's from Tulsa. And apparently she's got a doctorate from Yale. So that's pretty cool. It's got, I can't remember exactly what it is, but the impression that I got was that it had to do with cognition, like brain patterns and stuff. So it makes sense that she'd go and write a puzzle book and puzzle series. And apparently it did really well, and it's gotten a bunch of awards and stuff. So hey, good for her. Your mileage may vary. Your reaction to this book might be different from mine. But hey, if you want to see a broke girl who suddenly becomes a billionaire trying to figure out how she landed in this spot and what the costs of it are and why there are all these prep school boys and prep school girls and secondary and tertiary and whatever the fourth-yeary word is, characters are like, what's all the overlap and the connection to it, then you might want to sit down and untangle all of that. I did think that the cast of characters was a little bit bloated. She could have reduced it by, even a tenth. Just say, okay, this character here, this character here, this character here. It doesn't. There's not so significant of an impact that she would track it all. But whatevs. So. That is an endorsement for the Inheritance games if that kind of mystery seems like it's up your alley. If you've read it, let me know what you think. Drive safe. See you out there.